Okay. So we're very happy to welcome Ellen, Dillon, Andrew Wells and Julia Rose Lewis to Toronto for this reading, and our own Kes Mohammadi, who is from Toronto. Lovely to have you too. We will start with Ellen reading from her book, published by Havethorn Press. And but before that, I will invite Andrew, the publisher of Havethorn, to talk a little bit about this book. But let me introduce both of them. Read their bios first, and then we start talking about books and hear some poetry. Ellen Dillon, our guest of honor, is a poet and teacher from Limerick, Ireland. Her latest books are just out with Pomenar Press and Havethorn Press. The book with Pomenar is Tentatives, and this book with Havethorn is Thee Well Miss Carousel. Previous books looks at Irish history from the perspective of butter. Butter Intervention was published by Deere in 2002. The Teaching Life of Stéphane Mallarmé was published in 2021, and Stéphane Mallarmé Guitar, Sonnets to Malcolmus, Sad Press was published in the UK in 2019 by Sad Press, and Ellen teaches French and English at a rural secondary school in Ireland. And just to introduce Andrew before he gets here, Andrew is a poet and the author of two chapbooks, Sealed, which was published by Hesterglock in UK 2020, and Menacing Sense by, what is this place?
Osmanthus.
2021. Hard to read. And his work has appeared in London Magazine, Long Poem Magazine, Portland Review, among others, datably, so many places. And Andrew was an MFA candidate at Columbia University, and he is the publisher of fantastic Havethorn Press.
I won't keep you too long. I want to start by thanking Ghazal for having us, and Kes for both of your work putting this event together. I want to thank Ellen because she was just wonderful to work with. Anyone involved, Ghazal will attest, small press work is often very overwhelming and just so patient and kind and amazing to work with. It's a book, as you can perhaps tell from the title, about Townes Van Zandt. For me, it's we were just talking about this, it's very much a story. It's a narrative poem. It's a book about illness, about grief, and for me, the sort of voice slips and breaks in this really beautiful way that really captures all the music of Townes, and but also like the music of so many writers. It's a real testament to Ellen's reading, and she's bringing in so many voices into this one space. And yeah, without further ado, please welcome Ellen. I have a habit of ruining the mic for everyone.
All right,
Is that good?
yeah, that's perfect. Thank you.
It's lovely to see so many of you here. Thank you so much, Ghazal, for organising this night and my trip to Toronto and my first ever reading on this continent. And thank you so much, Andrew, for turning this book into exactly what I had imagined it in my head, but actually better. So this is Thee Well Miss Carousel. It's a story. It's a story about a girl and a breathing machine and the ghost of Townes Van Zandt. Legendaire XL2, compensate for loss. We must compensate for loss of airway warming, they say. Protect the airway, but I'm not here to damage it or blemish any other way. As dead space fills with this free grace, my patient one, you know, I have been set to check your own expiratory efforts, overriding them for your own good, for now. You know this breath is love, or will do once you're surfaced. Protecting you for life's best moments. This is the covenant given unto us. Every second I sink oxygen into you under pressure and resurface CO2. See me as an air miner of the alveoli. Hear the velar click that links living and not. I will never stop breathing for you now, and here in this O2 tensile minor moment, it is always now. 2 shots ring out in the still of the desert evening. Pancho's knees crumple and he tumbles in slow motion. A puff of sand dust rises up around where he hits the ground soundlessly. Lefty drops his gun, runs to cradle the dying man's head, too late to catch any last words he might have whispered. Night falls as fast as the dead man. Soon it will be cold and time to go. Escape made possible through some act of complicated overlooking. Time to go. Whatever can't be carried will be left here for the buzzards or whoever's passing. This scene plays out in my head every time the woman plays this song, and she plays it often, out of kindness, knowing it's one I love. I spend whole days inside the gaps in its story, filling them in one by one. You never really get away with anything, it tells me. You drag all your choices behind you till you can't keep on walking. When you, in turn, fall, they hover around you like ghosts on the edge of your vision. In the night, I hear them murmuring above the clicking of the machine that keeps me breathing. Town Song 1. Haunting is a second life, and when I followed you upstairs from the lobby of a shut-down hotel in North Tipperary, I knew without words that I was taking up a walk-on part on the second act of your American afterlife. There was no more I after that, just us, and we used up all the other vowels, howling into the void, and the void howled back. The room filled up with an all-right independent light, and a star chandelier or neon ceiling constellation winked at us in our crippling fear of the dark. Headlights of angels blink on and off. This hotel is dreaming itself back up from blueprints in the basement. When they arrived in a cavalcade, their dazzling wings made angel-shaped scotomata to cookie-cut the centre of our point of view. Scoot over closer, my hollow-boned ghost friend. Tell me what's left on the edge of your vision. Mine has oak leaf shadow, glitter-tipped feather, and the margin of your face glanced sideways in error. Horror vacui fills every square centimetre of surface up with curlicues, and your first songs are orchestrated to within an inch of their natural lives. Shine up from under that pizzicato layering, my love, and sink your stylet deep in my windpipe, for without your plastic shafting, no breath is possible. Headlights of angels blink on and off. This hotel is dreaming itself back up from blueprints in the basement. Nothing, come of nothing, left for nowhere, led us down glad-handed and legless to a quiet glade where even the river was in no rush and the water bubbled too softly to muffle our cries. Nobody knew us there, nobody saw us to know us, and our footprints traced a tangled track to the water's edge, but not back. That was the first night we sat it out walking, the stalking and the screams. I spent so many hours staring at the cover of the 1969 Townes Van Zandt album, especially after I'd left the record player behind in a midnight flight from a failed house share and could only look at it and mutter the songs to myself. The ukulele was gone too by then, so I couldn't play along. I'd picture Townes getting up to stretch, tired from his downcast post at the artfully distressed occasional table, and trying each of the colanders on his head before settling on the blue one, worn at a slant like his cowboy hat and heart-worn highways. Town Song 2. You always said the dreams had escaped into your life, and now no spirit known to man could corral them. You tried out riding, too tired to dismount and face them, if they had a face. But there's no outrunning when you walk in circles. You paced a landscape full of ghosts, filled with ghosts who'd made of you a hollow host. Hold me close, she cried, something I just can't get over. Curled on a mattress on the floor, the wind whistles through your bird-boned ribcage, and I could not love you more. I'm stepping out of us for just one moment to make it clear that this pile of floor skeleton and rag rubble was once two separate bodies. Before iron skin melted, ribs clicked and melded, and I linked into you and sank into our inclined dream. All the good and bad make of us something that no one else has, you and I. Ampersands anding us together like handcuffs. The old you would laugh at me, make me squirm in shame at these tender feelings. This new spectral form fits your sweet side better. With nothing, not even flesh to hem you in, there's no need to seek escape. A body is the hardest thing to get out of, especially a bone helmet skull like yours. You ducked out of marriages so easily, but it took you 52 years to shuck loose the real ball and chain. It may yet take me longer. These machines seem to know what they're doing, and I've no say over them. I'd cry if the tears could find my eyes. A mind's never free in a broken down body, Towns. You got that bit wrong in song, if not in life. Towns Song 3. Mother, I know you will grieve, but I've given my heart time to leave. Towns, you never did learn to slow the song back down once the crackling in the room had fizzed your blood up good and proper, giving your songs the bends, their live and giddy death spiral that tuned into a time a half beat faster than the room could keep. You brought a new pace to this flock wallpapered place of chicken in a basket and glitching circadian rhythms. You passed clots from all ends that took days to flush through the avocado toilet suite's coiled piping, pushed out beyond the singing's end like afterbirth. Mother, I know you will grieve, but I've given my heart time to leave. Around the convent grounds on the way into town, trees have grown back, and to think what their roots might be tangled through. The old bards lamenting the fallen forests in Sean O'Dear of the Glen and lament for Kilcosh might be stopped in their tracks by the thought of their forestry born through dead children's bones. Mother, I know you will grieve, but I've given my heart time to leave. By the time you were pacing the stage of the old hotel on Main Street, the home is long gone. Its buried babies laid in the dark where nobody'd find them. Your Marie, at least she died with her boy curled safe inside.